Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Jason here, and today's topic is not a very pleasant one, unfortunately. It's why 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and this is a super unfortunate statistic, but that's kind of just how it is. And today we're going to talk about why that's happening and how we can go about fixing the problem as well. So before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe and that like button, and let's jump right into the facts here. So more than 1 in 4 workers are not setting aside any money a month when they get paid. Now that's not good. People are not saving at all, and that's just a recipe for disaster. Nearly 3 in 4 workers are in debt, and most of them feel like they'll never get out of debt. And we're going to talk about later in the video kind of why that is, but that's also a super unfortunate statistic, and it doesn't really help the cause at all. More than half of minimum wage workers say they have to work another job just to make ends meet. 28% of workers making $50,000 to $99,000 are living paycheck to paycheck, and 70% of them are also in debt. Shockingly, even 1 in 4 families that are making $150,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Now that's just absurd, really. I mean, that's poor money management, I think. A survey was taken of 3,500 full-time working employees, and only 32% of them are using a budget, and 56% of them save $100 or less a month. Now, you know, since we talked a little bit about the statistics of Americans, 78% of us living paycheck to paycheck, let's kind of talk about why that happened and then get into how we can help solve the issue. So one of the reasons why this happens is student loan debt. Student loan debt is at the highest it's ever been, and it's just like crushing young adults. Now, people are getting out of college, having a hard time finding a well-paying job, and then their student loans are coming, they're coming due. They're starting to have to make those payments, and some people are walking out of college with 6 figures in debt, and it's pretty troubling because, you start off life with 6 figures in debt, it's gonna take a really, really long time to pay that back. And you add high cost of living expenses on top of that, and it's just really tough. Second point, which I kind of just mentioned right there, was cost of living keeps going up and up and up, and it's making it really tough. People are having to stay in apartments longer, not owning homes, living with their parents longer, or living with multiple people, and it's making it pretty tough out there. So cost of living is another reason why people are living paycheck to paycheck. Also, unexpected medical bills. Medical bills are extremely expensive. The way the medical field works is it's kind of a blind bidding, where you go in there, you get stuff done where that needs to happen, and especially if you don't have insurance, they don't tell you what it's going to cost. They just hit you with a bill, and they're like, oh, here it is. But coming 2021, I believe Trump changed that, so now hospitals cannot do blind billing, which is really good. So you'll know going into it what this is going to cost you. Like, I remember one time I thought I was having a heart attack at like 20 years old, and I was convinced. Like, I was sweating, I had the pain down my arm, like I was like, no, we gotta go. So we went to the ER. I know this is a little off topic, but we went to the ER, and 90% of the time I was sitting in the waiting room, they checked my EKG, I believe that's what it's called, right away to make sure I wasn't really having a heart attack. And then like a week later, we got a bill for $6,000, and I was like, what? Like, it was just obscene. So like, medical bills are a big issue, and if you're unfortunate enough to get, a medical issue that needs attention, you could get hit pretty tough. Another issue is stagnant wages. Wages are not, going up as fast as the cost of living is going up. And I read an article that said wages having to do with, just a regular business degree or a bachelor's degree are staying pretty stagnant. And actually, the trades are going up, so that's something you guys should look into. You can usually go to a trade school with very, very low debt, if not any, and get out making 70 grand in an entry-level job. So it's really not something to look over. And this is the most important reason, I think, is People are uneducated in financing. The school system does not teach you anything about finances. They don't teach you how to do your taxes. They don't teach you assets and liabilities. They don't teach you how to budget. They don't teach you anything, but they teach you parallelograms and, you know, triangles and algebra. But like that, the real world, if whether you like it or not, has money involved, and if you want to live well, you need to know how to properly handle money. That's the hard truth, and nobody tells you that in school system. Even in college, a lot of times they don't go over that unless you get specific into a certain degree, specifically involved with money. But it's pretty tough, and unfortunately, you have to self-teach yourself. But luckily, YouTube University is free, and I think it's the best place to learn. Also, pick up books on, you know, on money topics. You know, constantly be learning. The more you learn about money, the better you'll be with it. And a huge reason for why people are in a paycheck to paycheck scenario is because they have no flipping idea how to handle their money and what to do with it. So they end up just with a bunch of liabilities, and you know, they kind of put themselves in a bind unknowingly, unfortunately, but that's kind of how it is. Ways we can get out of this mess is, number one, we can cut your expenses anywhere you can. Anything that you can cut out of your expenses that you don't need, do it, because that everything, a penny saved is a penny earned, right? So if you cut that $5 Starbucks every day, guess what? At the end of the day, at the end of the month, you have an extra $150. You might not even realize $150 going down the drain when you get your little caramel latte because it tastes so good. But you know, sometimes you gotta look at yourself in the mirror and be like, am I serious about getting myself off this paycheck to paycheck, or do I love that caramel drink? You know, it's up to you. Another thing that you should start doing is saving for an emergency fund. It should be a rule of thumb that you should have at least 3 to 4 months of reserves on hand if anything were to happen, like what we're in right now, the coronavirus. People are shut down. Unless you're an essential worker, you may not be getting paid, or you might have got laid off. So you need that emergency fund. I say 3 to 4. Some people say 6 months. Some people even say a full year. Now that may not be realistic for most people. I think 3 to 4 months is a pretty good buffer and should give you a long enough time to find a new job and get yourself back on your feet. You could also start a side hustle to make some extra money, whether that be, you know, flipping items on eBay from a thrift shop, or driving for Uber or Uber Eats, or starting a consulting business on a topic you're really good about. Whatever it may be, there's plenty of ways that you can find on YouTube just to do a little bit of hustling on the side, maybe on the weekend, to, you know, to try to scrape up some extra, like $500 a month, and that can help a lot. You know, that's an extra $6,000 a year, so that could help you out a lot. Also, start consolidating your debt. Consumer debt, student loans, car loans, those are big deals, and a lot of people rack them up. So if you can consolidate that bad debt and start paying that down as fast as possible, the better off you'll be, because they usually have high interest rates tacked on to those types of debts, and they're pulling money out of your pocket every month, and not a lot of it's going down to principal pay down. So you need to pay down those debts as soon as possible, and that will help you greatly in your monthly expenses, and meeting ends meet a lot easier. You also need to start a budget. A lot of people do not know where their money goes, and when you start a budget, some people are like, holy cow, I did not realize that we were spending $300 a month eating out. You know, that can add up pretty quick. A meal, you know, at like a whatever restaurant is probably like, you know, $50. So you don't have to go out that many times to rack up money, and a lot of people don't realize that, and it just keeps adding up. So you need to start a budget, because it'll make you realize, you know, what you really need to spend your money on and what you should stop spending your money on. Sometimes you even realize that you have reoccurring monthly expenses coming out from a service that you don't even use anymore. Like, what about like Hulu, or like all these random things that you might have signed up for a couple years ago, and since it was small amounts, you never even realized. That's happened to us, and we were like, what the heck is this? And we canceled it. So you need to start a budget, because you can better decide where your money is going and actually realize where it is going. Last bit of advice would be, go for that promotion. Start working towards that promotion. Work really, really hard at your job. Make your boss feel good. Make your boss know that you're working hard. Be the star at your workplace so you get that promotion. You start working really hard now, in 1 to 3 years, you're probably going to see a salary increase, and that can help you a lot. Don't be that person that just scrolls through Facebook and hides in their cubicle. Get out there, get things done, make your superiors realize that you're really trying, and make it known that you want a promotion. Maybe go sit down and tell them that you're pushing for this, and ask them what you need to do to get that promotion. A lot of times they'll tell you, don't be afraid. So those are my tips about getting out of paycheck to paycheck life. And I wish everybody well in their finances, and I hope you, if you're in this sort of situation, you can turn it around. Just start being smart about it, and before you know it, you'll be in a better situation. You just need to be very disciplined. So stay safe, everyone, and have a great day.